Welcome back, guys. So we're here with you guys we're here to do another video for you guys about relationships, the tea with relationships. So what we're gonna be doing is talking about the 5 things to do before in a relationship and the 5 things to do when you're in a relationship. But before we start off with these tips, we want to kind of give you guys a little beforehand kind of thing about kind of like a little bit of what we're gonna be talking about. So for example, like there's some people out there, like women or men, who try to I don't say get caught up, but they get caught up in the skills of a person, the looks of the person. If this person has like accents or curly hair, like that's not all you should be thinking about. Like it's all about the inside, the heart, the personality of the person, like what their beliefs are, like what your beliefs are, did they match up? And so we're gonna be talking a little bit about that. So Precious is here with us today, and she's gonna talk about the first tip when you're before you're in a relationship.
So, knowing yourself. So, this is really important because when you get into a relationship, in the midst of knowing yourself, you're going to be getting to know another person. And you want to know what things you're comfortable with, your things you're not comfortable with, your strengths, your weaknesses before you get into a relationship. Because honestly, if you don't know these things about yourself before you get into a relationship, they can begin to come out and you're like, oh shoot, I didn't know I was like this. I guess I'm like this. And then while you're trying to figure out, no, why do I do this? Why do I do that? You have this other individual that's there and they're trying to get to know you. And you're like, well, wait, I'm still trying to get to know myself. So it's good to know yourself before you get into a relationship. Know your worth. Know what you're about. That way, when you get into a relationship with someone else, you can easily see, okay, we have the same values, we have the same morals, this is good. Or no, we don't have the same things, maybe we could just be friends and that'll just be it. So, yeah.
The second step is to have a strong relationship with God. Like, God needs to be your center. Like, there's a verse in the Bible that talks about how the man comes to the woman. Like, let that man come to you. Like, when you think about something, like, okay, God, like, does this sound right to you? Or do you think that I'm ready for this right now? Because God's not going to put nothing in life that you're not ready for.
Right.
So if you're having a boyfriend, you, like, having struggle with all these things, we think that. Like, think about, like, okay, is this right for me, like, at this time, like, at this moment? So make sure God is at the center. Pray about it. Like, pray about it.
Prayer changes things.
You go to church. Sometimes listen to a message to help you out. So.
True. So the next one is friendship first.
This is good, guys. Like, okay, so you're dating somebody or in a relationship with someone, like, they should be your best friend first. Like, it should not be like, okay, like, you know, you have friends, like, you have a regular friend, and you're like, oh, hey, like, oh, you're so cool, like, who are my best friends are? Because you're so close, you can talk about so much stuff. That's how it should be with your boyfriend. Like, you should know, not everything about them, but a lot about them. You should know, like, what they're like when they're mad, what they're like when they're sick, what they're like when something doesn't go their way. Like, you don't want to be, like, dating them, like, oh, wait, what? Like, that's how you want to act? Like, oh, you abuse me now? Like, oh, God forbid. But it's like, you need to know them. Like, you don't want to be dating a stranger. You don't want them to be... You don't want to be dating a stranger, and you don't want them to be dating a stranger. Like, you guys need to have that communication. Know things about yourself.
True. It's also important to be friends first because when you go to get into a relationship, it's going to be much easier for you guys to gel together because you already know how this person is. It's just a matter of getting to know each other on a deeper, more intimate level.
Exactly. The next one we have is have high standards, but don't limit yourself.
Okay, so this goes for both genders, okay? So ladies, you know, we be like, Lord, send me the Michael B. Jordan. May he have the lips, the earrings, the eyes, the smile, the laugh, da-da-da-da-da. Guys, Michael is not, he doesn't know you exist, okay? We can pray, you can trust, you can believe, you can fast, you can call on the intercessors, but you're not going to get Michael. But God did create a lot of other amazing, good-looking people on this earth that he will put you with, and they will be a godly man. So it's...
Keyword, he will put you with.
Yes. Please. He. Okay. So, yes, it's good to have high standards or be like, oh, well, this is what I would like. This is who I would picture myself with. That's great and that's awesome. Because you can't just date some random person off the street. But then also, you can't put so many limits out there. Like, oh my gosh, if he doesn't look everything like Michael B. Jordan, then we're done. Like, I can't date him. I'm just going to be single for the rest of my life. Homegirl. No. Like, no. Because the thing is, the guy that God may have called you to be with, or a gal that God may have called you to be with, like, they may not look per se like the person that you would imagine yourself to be with, but as far as like emotionally and like mentally and things like that, they could be everything that you need. And like
sometimes it'll be like they'll have something and you'll be like, wow, like I kind of like that, and you wouldn't even think that you would need that, but it's like when God puts it up, you're like, okay, God, see,
but the thing is about God is like, he's the one, although there's things that we want, he gives us the things that we need. Yeah. And especially when it comes to like whoever our significant other is going to be, he's definitely going to give you what it is that you need. So guys, okay, so you want this girl that look exactly like Queen Bee. Like, she got the lips, she got the bod, she got the hair, she got the voice. Not everybody looks like Queen Bee. Okay, that it is what it is. Okay, and the thing is like, yes, it's good to have those standards because you don't want to date some ratchet girl off the street, but also realize that there are people that may not have all the talents that Queen Bee has, but they're still a great person. They still grow you. They still, inspire you and things like that. So don't limit yourself, but it's also good to have those expectations because you don't want to set yourself up. You don't want to just set the bar solo that you're just dating anybody and there's no growth in a relationship and you're not growing in yourself. So, yeah.
The next one we have is know your personal boundaries. So, she's mainly going to talk about this. Let me just say something.
Yeah.
Like, don't do something that you wouldn't want yourself to do. Like, if you're like, even if you're just friends with somebody and something that they say to you is uncomfortable, say that it's uncomfortable because then that's the part of being best friends before you're in a relationship so that you guys can be able to talk. Like, don't be stranded and, like, this person saying all these great things to you and, like, he thinks that you're all good, but you're really not. Like, I don't know the next part.
About to tap into stuff.
Know your personal boundaries. Once you have those personal boundaries, don't cross them for somebody else. You make the line for a reason, so keep the line.
Mm-hmm. So as she was saying, it's good to be friends with the other person first. Because when you are friends, they are aware of your boundaries. So, like, for example, one person, I don't know, okay, in our society, especially in our generation, like, people just sleep around. That's just what they do. I don't know why, but they just do it. And it's nasty and it's gross. But anyways, so people just, like, sleep around. And say if, you're a person that's like, well, I don't want to have sex with someone until, we're going to be married. And say if your significant other is like, oh, well, that's not what I want to do. What are you going to do? Are you going to compromise yourself just so that you're snatched? Or are you going to be upfront and stick up for yourself? Say, hey, well, I'm not comfortable with that. That's a boundary that I have. So if we're going to go further in this relationship more intimately, then you have to respect that. And if they don't respect it, all right, they were a lesson. But if they do respect it, okay, Gucci, great. That's fantastic. But it's so important to know your personal boundaries because that also goes into knowing yourself and knowing your worth. If you know yourself, then you know your boundaries and you're able to fully express that to the other person. And
sometimes when you're with somebody, they can help you to realize, okay, that's a boundary that I think I need to start having. Like, they'll do something and in your mind, you're like, why would he do that? Or like, I don't like that. Like, that'll help you know, so.
Yeah. And actually, you sparked something up. So one thing that I did was I actually, like, made a list of, like, boundaries that I have. Like, things that I'm comfortable with and things I'm not comfortable with. And honestly, like, one helps you to realize, wow, okay, these are boundaries that I have. And then it's like, oh, I don't have boundaries in regards to this. I should probably have boundaries in regards to this. Like, something as simple as, like, oh, if my sisters borrow my clothes, like, hey, you have to return it back clean and wash it better than I received it. Like, that's one thing that I have when it comes to sharing stuff. Or, so when it comes to relationships-wise, like, oh, like, if we're around family, like, no crazy, like, PDA, because, like, that's awkward. At least for me. But some people, they would just be like, hey, it's my family, whatever, we cool. But just know those things because it's important.
Yeah. So next we're going to talk about the 5 things to do when you're actually in a relationship. So the first thing we have when in a relationship is keeping your individuality. So this is so important, guys. Like, we'll tag team on this. So what I was going to say is, like, when you're dating somebody, say for example, we got Rebecca and we got Jacob. Rebecca and Jacob, 2 different people. Like, it should not just be Rebecca and Jacob. Like, you need to know yourself. Mm-hmm. He knows him. You're not dating the same person. Like, you need to keep your personality and his separate.
Mm-hmm. In addition to that, yes, when you first get into a relationship, it's the honeymoon phase. Oh my gosh, I'm spending so much time with you. Oh my gosh, like, I can't be away from you. Oh my gosh, blah, blah, blah. Yes, that does happen. But then after a while, it's like, okay, I need some space. So if God has called you guys to be together and, like, eventually get married and things like that, you really need to value the time that you have to yourself. You need to value your own, like, personal time. Because when you guys get married, you're going to be in each other's faces all the time. All the time. So now, like, while you're dating and things like that, enjoy the time you have. Go spend time with the girls. Go hang out with the guys. Go spend time with your family. Or be by yourself in solitude. Some people are more extroverted than others. Some people are more introverted than others. And they really like their space. And there's others that are like, I really want to be in your space. And I really want you in my space. And it's like, okay, so let's, like, limit this, you know? You don't have to see each other every day. But it's not detrimental if you don't see each other every day.
The next thing we have is keeping God at the center. This kind of goes back to the other one we're talking about, a strong relationship with God. God's supposed to be everything. Well, I don't know what your religion is, but if, for example, if whatever your religion is, or that God or whoever it is, needs to be at the center. Like, God's the one who brought you there. God's the one who gave you this man. Well, God should have been the one that gave you the man. So give thanks to him. Like, it should not be like, oh, we're going to go on a date. I'll do my Bible plan later, or I'll go to church later. We're going to go on a hike on Sunday instead of going to church. Like, no, like, God is supposed to be between the both of you guys. Like, it's the three of us. Like, you, him, and God. So keep that in mind. And that person should not be taking you farther away from God. Like, y'all should be uplifting each other in what you guys believe, and that's what goes. What are we talking about? Your morals and stuff like that. Y'all talking about that? Okay. Oh, well.
But to tag team on that, here's how you know if this person is really who God called you to be with. If you're, oh yes, hold on. Before I say that, when you have a strong relationship with God, you're able to perceive whether someone is called to be with you or not. Whether He's put them in your life for you to spend the rest of your life with, or just to be a lesson. But in addition to that, if they're leading you closer to Christ, that's a good sign. But if you see that they're taking you away from Christ and that you're like backsliding a little bit, you may need to space out and do a healthy distance, healthy boundary. But yeah, definitely having God at the center of your relationship. When you're in a relationship with another person and God is the center, your morals and your beliefs and everything, it all aligns. I mean, yes, there's going to be less arguments, and that's going to be great. But then also God could speak to you both about the same thing, or you can minister to each other, and that'll be so amazing. And then you minister to other people together, and then it's just like, oh my gosh, like, yes. But yes,
cute.
Yeah.
The next thing we have, number 3, is never compromise your values and values and morals, which is kind of what we just talked about just now. Like, guys, like, if you believe in God, you believe in God. Like, don't let them change that. Like, okay, say for example, the person you're dating, you're Christian, you're dating someone who's atheist. If you're planning on, I don't want to say changing that person or like moving them into your thing, then you don't actually do that. Don't be like, okay, well, I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. Well, you
be uncomfortable.
Know yourself, ma'am, and know, or sir, or whoever it is, and don't be compromising anything. If that's what you believe in, that's what you believe in. That's like saying, I don't like peanut butter, I don't like peanut butter. Don't let nobody change you if you don't like peanut butter. It's the same thing with your religion. Know that and keep that.
She just said it, yeah.
Okay. Number 4, be open-minded.
Okay, so when it comes to being in a relationship or whatever, I know for us ladies, we have this mindset where, okay, first date, I've got to know right then and there that he's the one. If he's not the one, boot it out. We're never talking again. Drop you that last one's shoes. And it's like, no. Like, you can go and have coffee with someone and say, you know, okay, they may be a different religion. Okay, you can still be friends with them. I mean, you may not date them, but you can still have conversation. Like, that's okay. Like, we're so big today on just dropping people, like it's nothing, like completely severing the relationship. And it's like, okay, in some instances, yes, you need to drop someone because they're unhealthy. But in other instances, you can still be friends. You're just not in a romantic relationship with them. That's totally fine. But also, we can have this perception and idea of what a relationship is supposed to be like, and the other person may have a completely different perception. Be open to that.
Not everybody has the same relationships.
Exactly. Not everyone has the same views of it. Like, there's some people who are like, oh, our relationship, I believe, like, you know, I want it to be private. Like, we may post pictures here and there, but I don't want social media to be in the mix of it. And then there's others that's like, no, I want everyone to know. I want to share my life, because this is amazing. Be open-minded. And if someone has a different view than you, talk about it. Why do you have this view, and make a compromise from there.
Okay. Number 5 is establishing boundaries and honesty.
When you're in a relationship with someone, it's very important to be honest. Yes. It's not easy to be vulnerable with people, especially in our generation. There's some that want to be vulnerable, but they have a fear of rejection. Or there's others that they don't really want to be vulnerable because they've been rejected. And the thing is like,
as it comes to knowing the person, best friends first.
yeah, you have to be vulnerable in order to grow in a relationship. You have to have those uncomfortable conversations and say those things that's like, okay, no one else really knows about this, but, and just come out and say it. Because honestly, they're not going to know where you're coming from. They're not going to know why you do the things you do. And when it comes to establishing boundaries in the relationship, if you're able to be vulnerable and say those things, then making the boundaries should not be so difficult.
Exactly. You don't want to be stuck in a relationship where you're uncomfortable and it's just one person deciding everything because you're too scared to stick up to say something.
It's a two-way street.
Exactly. Now, this next thing I'm about to talk about is one of the biggest things in relationships. Like, not even just a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, even a regular friendship relationships. This thing is communication, guys. You have got to have communication. Like, a relationship is nothing without communication. This literally follows everything what we talked about. Like, your morals and values, you got to communicate about that. Like, oh, you don't believe in God? Okay, well, let's talk about maybe why you don't believe in God. Like, you need to have these things, talking about the boundaries. I don't want to have sex before marriage. Why don't you want to have sex before marriage? Are you care if you believe in that? Communication, it's everything. Like, if you don't have that, then what are you doing?
Exactly. That's so true. And with communication, it helps you to get to know the other person more.
Yeah.
Like, it helps you to get to know them better.
Those are the best dates, and just talking back and forth. Like.
Exactly. Talk for hours until there's, like, no one else left in the restaurant. See, that's another sign. If you guys could just talk and talk and talk and, like, not run out of things to talk about, that's a really good sign. But, yeah, I mean, she pretty much said it. Communication is the gateway to having a healthy, productive relationship.
Yes.
Yeah. So big, so big. We just gotta take that leap of faith and go for it.
And with all of these things, guys, like, if you see other relationships, like, struggling with some of these things, help them too. Like, we want to be building up relationships. You don't want to be seeing all these divorces and stuff like that. Like, you get married for a reason. That's why you say the vows, stuff like that. Like, I'm not even gonna get to that. But yeah, help out for the fellow people, fellow relationships. So this was just some of our ideas about, or not ideas, opinions about what we think. Yeah, beliefs. What we think are the best things for before a relationship and when you're actually in a relationship. Obviously, this isn't everything to like having the perfect relationship, but it's just a couple of things that will definitely help and definitely benefit you in the future. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please feel free to comment down below. Also, subscribe to our channel and like this video and tell your friends. Communicate. But yes, thank you guys for watching. Enjoy. Or
see you next time.
Yeah.